We are using cool colors today, okay? On our feathers, on our mural, we're going to be using green, blue, a turquoise, an indigo, as well as a violet and a fuchsia, okay? We're going to be using cool colors, okay? To paint on my feather, I'm going to be wetting my brush, and then I'm going to be adding the water to my actual paint right here, and I'm moving the brush back and forth. Okay, I'm not doing the full brush, I'm just doing the tip of it. So once you get your paint palette a little wet, what we're going to do is we're going to move that directly on here, and you're going to choose 3 of them to do the light blue. Okay, so I want this one right here, and you see how I'm just giving it an outline so the paint doesn't actually go outside of this line that I'm giving it right here. Okay, and then you can make it darker by adding more paint droplets to it, because it's actually going to get darker in this area. Okay, and then from there I'm going to choose 2 other ones because I want various places of it to be light blue. I'm getting as close to this line as I possibly can. We will be cutting this feather out, so if you do get out of the line a little bit, that's fine. Just try and stay your best within the lines right here inside of the feather. So same thing, I'm going to be painting 3 different parts, and I'm going to choose them a little bit spaced out. So we're going to continue with our feather. Okay, we're working very slowly, and you see how I got out of line there? That's okay, because we're going to be cutting this feather out with scissors at a later time. Okay, so the first part is choosing our pattern. Second part is going to be painting our feather. And then the third part is going to be drawing our pattern onto the feather. I'm going to move my water out of the way. And here we go. You see it's running out of water, so the color is a lot lighter. I'm sorry, it's running out of paint. So if I were to go back over here to my paint, swish it around on there, get the tip of it more colorful, and then add in this color. See how it's a lot darker there. Okay, so when our paint runs out, it starts to get a lot lighter. Okay, and I'm going from my lightest blue to my darkest color. So I'm going to go to green from here once I clean my brush. Okay, and again, I'm going to be getting my brush very wet so that I can move on to the green. Looks like I dropped a little bit of paint there, but it still looks good. Okay, so again, I'm moving the tip of the brush around onto the green. Little cake, little tempera cakes. And I'm going to be putting green. I want a big green. I'm only going to be doing 2 green. I really want this to be very, very colorful. And I still have quite a few colors to go. So again, I'm just making sure that every part that I want to have paint on it is wet. And you're going to see me add more darkness to the color by reaching over here with my brush, getting more paint on my brush, and then just adding it and spreading it around. Okay, the more my brush touches the paint, I'm sorry, the water onto the paper, the darker it's going to be. Again, we're not coloring the whole brush. I'm not shoving it down onto the palette. I'm being very gentle with my brush. Like the very tip of the brush is touching the actual paper. Okay, and then I'm going to rinse out my brush again. Get some more water onto my tempera cake right here. And then I'm going to do want to add it to the ends right here. I'm only going to do 2 greens and then I'm going to move on to a different color. I would love for another color to be on here now. Okay. Okay. Let's see, what other color should I use? I think I'm going to go with turquoise. I'm going to add a turquoise on here. Just one though, so I can add some more purple. I really want to see that purple on there. So again, tip of my brush, adding water to my tempera cake, and then I'm going to be brushing right along. Oh, what a beautiful turquoise. Okay, and I'm tracing my shape, my area with a wet brush with paint on it, and I'm making sure to do my best to stay within the lines, and I'm adding more droplets like that. Just tapping very, very softly gives it a lot of color there, and the color just spreads within the water, so it's definitely going wherever the water is in this area. And then I'm going to rinse out my brush because I'm going to be switching to another color. I'm going to be switching to a dark blue now. Well, no, I want to go with the fuchsia. Adding 1 fuchsia in here too. Okay, go ahead and get water onto your brush. Move it onto the tempera cake, and then again, you're going to be spreading it out onto your area. And once we have this painted, we will be cutting it out and drawing on it. Oop. See, I got into the other side, and you see how it's spreading into the other areas because this is still wet. So colors do blend together when they are both wet. So follow along with me, boys and girls. You're going to be adding a fuchsia to your feather. And it is going to be bleeding into the blue. I already touched it, so it's spreading, which doesn't look so bad. Okay, now I'm going to go with my purple, and then I'm going to do my dark blue on there. Purple, I love purple, so I'm going to add 2 with purple. Okay, so you're getting your wet brush and you're adding it to your tempera cake, and then you're spreading it onto your feather. You can see how it's pulling that fuchsia out too, because they're both still very wet and the colors are bleeding into each other. Okay, and I am not being rough with this brush. I am doing the very, very tip of the brush onto the paper. And again, on this next side, I still have enough water on my brush to carry it over. And you're going to see it, if I get too close to the turquoise, it's going to start bleeding into the turquoise. Okay, remember I'm giving my paper an outline of water with paint. Okay, and then I'm going to be coloring in the center. Just spread that color across. Okay. I think I'm going to tip it over and just let it bleed into the other colors. Give it a little effect there. After I add the dark blue, so cleaning my brush before I move on to a different color, and I'm going to the dark blue, where I'm then going to add it to the last remaining part that I have here. Oh yeah, what a pretty color. Okay, remember, if I get too close to the fuchsia, it's going to blend in and they're going to actually bleed into each other. Same thing with the green. The green is still a little wet. I went a little bit overboard on that side. You can see that already. Okay, so once this dries, we will be adding our pattern to it and then cutting it out. Okay, and I'm just gonna pull it forward so I can see how these colors can blend into each other. So you see how the water, it travels down to its highest part and it actually like just turns the color around. You see that turquoise right there? It's really moving. Okay, and any one that's bled into another is going to keep going like that. So I'm gonna turn it over. See this fuchsia, I want to see if it goes into the purple right there. Okay. And I'm gonna let that dry.